Well, welcome back to the second part of Scoreline. My name is Robinson Okenya, and if you're just joining us, the first part of the show, we took a look at what is happening here locally in terms of sports. And this part, we want to particularly take a look at the second edition of Kitui 7's before later on in the show, moving on to the Champions League, the final that was played yesterday where Real Madrid emerged the winners. But before going overseas, we take a look at the Kitui 7's, the second edition. And here in studio, I'm joined by the CEC of sports, that is Kitui County, that is Honorable Patrick Koki Musau, who likes to be called Kavusila. Welcome to studio.
Thank you.
And
Thank
also
you,
the tournament director for Kitui 7's, none other than Benjamin Ayimba, a prolific name when you talk about 7's in the country. Welcome to the studio, Benja.
Thanks.
How you doing?
Very good, thanks. I know I'm lost, but I'm good. I'm down in Mashinani.
What are you doing in Mashinani?
Spreading rugby the best way I know how.
The best way you know how. Patrick, I would like to begin with you. The second edition of Kitui 7's. You know, the first edition was 2 years ago, and for 2 years we've not had this tournament. Why?
First and foremost, Robinson, allow me to bring to Kenyans greetings of Her Excellency the Governor, Honorable Charity Kaluki Ngilu, Governor of Kitui. Secondly, I want to appreciate you for hosting us here. And in the side of postponement of the second edition of the rugby tournament in Kitui, we had anticipated to host it around April during the Pasaka, the Easter holiday. But due to heavy rains, we deemed it fit to postpone it to 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of June because basically infrastructure had been ruined by heavy rains. But I want to report to Kenyans that right now plans are on top gear. The pitch is very well done. We've done, even the changing rooms are quite okay. The lighting system is done into perfection, and also the greening has been done. So Kitui County is set to host the big event on the 1st and 2nd and 3rd of June.
There were reports on social media that the pitch that was going to host this edition was in bad state. You know, how do you manage to speed up the process?
Well, as you are aware, Robinson, that Kitui right now is under the able leadership of Her Excellency the Governor. I can bet you that we are having a hashtag which says Kitui Mbenzei. So basically, after the rains subsided, we were able to work 24 hours and to make sure that the pitch is very ready for the event.
Benja, I would like to bring you into this. You are the tournament director of Kitui 7's. Why Kitui?
Kitui because first it's a very friendly county, as Kuvasila might attest to. He's not biased when he says Her Excellency has been doing a good job because she's been on this hands-on really, and she's given us the atmosphere to work and to work well. Two, it's a very nice town to be in, and people don't know about it. It is time that people packed up their bags for the long weekend to come and see what it offers.
I mean, people will be looking at Kitui 7's and then thinking like, you know, the last time we had Masaku 7's, it wasn't, you know, it did not live to the hype as expected. That's the last edition. So why should we go to Kitui?
Masaku 7's was taken over by the government. They started running it, and we all know government is meant for governance. So what the Kitui government has done is it's brought people who know how to run the tournament, and now we are running the tournament, and what they are doing is facilitating, as Mr. Kuvasila's name attests to. The Kuvasila
basically means facilitation.
Facilitating.
So additionally, as Ayimba has said, Kitui, we were able to facilitate and to scout for international, you know, coaches, the likes of Mr. Ayimba, who made sure that everything was set for the big event. So this is why Kitui basically is very unique from the other counties, and this is why we are actually hosting the second edition for the first time in history. Yes.
So why did you sit down and say, you know what, let's go with rugby? not football, not volleyball, or either have an athletics tournament?
Robinson, I'll take you back and say that I'll stick to my boss. When Governor assumed power, Governor Charity Kaluki Ngilu, she promised the people of Kitui 5 very important issues in our manifesto. One being food and water. The second pillar of our manifesto was healthcare. The third one was education and youth development. The third one was the fourth one. The fourth pillar was women empowerment, and the fifth pillar was wealth creation. And in lieu, just like the big 4 of His Excellency the President, Kitui, we have the big 5. And in lieu of articulating these 5 issues of Her Excellency's manifesto, my ministry had to pick 2 very important key issues, one being youth development and wealth creation. And that's why we said we need to search, the talents of our youths. And as you are aware that rugby is one game which is played by very few players, participants, just to say 7 of them. But it attracts a lot of crowd, it attracts a lot of fans. And we said combining these 2 pillars of manifesto, we will first and foremost be developing talents of our youths to become international players like Ayimba. Again, we shall be in a position to attract a lot of fans in Kitui. And what does that one mean? It means petrol stations will be pumped with vehicles, our hotels, our hoteliers will make lucrative, packs of money, and our youths also, through selling of their wares, they will be able to create wealth. So basically, that's why we picked this. But additionally, we are also focusing on other areas of sporting activities. Like we are about to develop, the plans are underway to develop an eco park at Kalundu Dam, whereby we want to introduce water sporting activities. Again, we also want to promote tourism, sports tourism at a place called, we have an iconic rock called Zambani Rock. We want to take people there. Once the rationale about that rock is that once you go running there 7 times, your agenda automatically changes. So now we also want to promote sports on that area.
So Benja, let me bring you into this. You've been the brainchild of a number of tournaments in this country.
Yes.
And what is different with the Kitui 7's?
Basically, the huge difference is the government participation in this. The government is the biggest sponsor. They've been able to get us going in terms of providing facilities that we require, providing the support that we require to prepare to make those facilities. The tournament has prize money, which is courtesy of the government as well. So it's quite a lot the government has done. So for me, it's about being able to run the tournament without anybody's interference, and them the government just facilitating as opposed to taking it over.
So, additionally, Robinson,
yes?
I would say, to add on what Ayimba said, I would say, when you have the right leadership in place, everything becomes very easy and, very accessible. So by the reason of having the right leadership in Kitui, we were able to set everything right. We have set up a very good infrastructure on development for the sports, facilities in Kitui, and that's why Mr. Ayimba could attest that Kitui should be the place to be and to host this tournament.
Benja, we normally have the National 7's circuit, which goes to here, it starts here in Nairobi, Nakuru, Eldoret, Mombasa, Kisumu, then again ends in Nairobi. But what does this mean when you talk about rugby going to parts like Kitui?
We've been thinking of expanding the tournaments just because there's a lot more players playing now and they don't have the platform to play in. We can only play so many teams in the local circuit. So plans are underway. I was speaking to the union to see if we can have a second-tier tournament circuit that players that can't play in the top tier can usually play, and Kitui presents that kind of platform. So hopefully we get many more counties involved, and once we get that kind of support, we should be able to do that easily.
Robinson, additionally, I would say, just like Ayimba said, in lieu of, that now currently we have an evolved system of governance.
Yes.
And in lieu of fostering this devolution, I think it is very pertinent for the Kenya Rugby Union to take some of these tournaments right at the county level so that our young people there, our youth, can as well be promoted in terms of talents. And then also be in a position to participate in international tournaments so that they can as well be the Ayimbas of tomorrow. Yes.
Benja, we are 1 month away from the national 7th circuit in the country, and I'm sure because of that period, how many teams have confirmed participation in the tournament?
Funny enough, we're now trying to restrict because by yesterday we had 18 interested. 18 teams interested. Yes, we can only get a total of 20 because we have 4 women's teams participating as well. So right now we're meant to have had a draw yesterday, but we couldn't do that because the teams that were interested were actually on our ears trying to get that done. So we only require 16 men's teams, and we have the 4 women's teams. So right now is by tomorrow morning we'll have come up with the final list and definitely publish an order of play, so to speak.
Also, I would say by the reason of publicizing Kitui, and the moment the world knew Kitui is the place to be, we have also attracted international teams like the likes of, we are anticipating to host 2 teams from Uganda, 1 men and another 1 women. Also, we have 4 teams from our locality. We have got 1 team from Seku, another 1 from KMTC, another 1 from Kitui Teachers Training Institute, another 1 from Kitui School. So we are also trying to mold our teams so that our youths can as well be in a position to get into the link.
Benja, you talked about 18 teams that are interested in taking part in this tournament, and then you mentioned 4 women's teams.
Yes.
I would like to bring your attention into the women's team that you have 4. I mean, probably why have you not had more women's teams interested in taking part in this?
Just because we also don't want to water down the quality of it, and because of the timing and everything else, we'd rather have, to start with, a small piece, because this is it's going forward. We'll probably look for more time to rope in more women's teams, and the national team is out, and the major squad of the national team cannot play in this tournament. So we have fewer women's teams in the country. So we intend later on to have more women's teams, but for now, those 4 will be adequate to run the tournament effectively.
And of the 18 teams interested in taking part in this tournament, do you have a schools category? I mean, schools from the, that's where
the local schools are playing during the week, guarding into the weekend. We've got a huge number now. We've got about 8 schools in our region who are playing. So it's quite interesting. We had one last tournament. Last week we had another tournament. So we have, in this week before the main tournament, we'll have the schools participating as well.
Again, on the part of schools participation, Robinson, as a ministry, we have also endeavored to reach into all 1,700 thereabout schools in Kitui, within Kitui County. And the governor has directed that each school, may it be secondary school or primary school or the special, academies, they need to introduce this tournament because it will foster their talents. Again, we've also planned as a ministry to form athletic camps alongside with the rugby and soccer. So in the side of soccer, we are planning to have 2 main stadiums in Kitui, one at Idokwe and another one at Mwingi Town, which meets international standards and which can attract the international teams to come and play Sekava and the like. So now we are very partnered with the schools, reaching into schools, all of them, both primary and secondary schools, and we are sensitizing them to participate in these sporting activities.
When you talk about taking this tournament, probably, spreading into schools, either secondary or primary, how sustainable is it? Are we going to see after 1 year, probably, things going sideways?
Well, Robinson, I would say here, without 10 doubt of iota, that governor has started, we've already started Governor's Cup, right from the village level, which touches the schools majorly. And we want to play it at the village level, up to ward level, up to sub-county level, and then we crown it over at the county level. This one, we want to form these structures because these are the already formed structures of the county government. By so doing, we'll create sustainability in the near future.
The first edition was won by a team, a local team, you know, a local team that was made up of assembled players that defeated Homeboys in the final. Do you see that happening again in this year's edition, which is the second edition? Do you see a local team going home as the winners of the tournament?
Well,
I think they will. What we're trying to do also in this tournament is encourage more non-traditional clubs.
Yeah.
So you have, like we have Miro and Faru on as well. Miro is an offshoot of Mamba, and we Hurricanes are an offshoot of Homeboys. So encouraging that kind of those kind of teams to get into the competition, because then they tend to pick the really good players. And then there's Wakulima as well, Samurai Wakulima, who have been mostly comprised of present and national team players. So it's going to be some good quality rugby then.
Again, I would say, Robinson, you remember the spirit of the former president of the US, President Obama. He came just from nowhere and he said we can. So I would say it depends on the perception, you know, and the passion. So long as the local Homeboys teams have the passion and the perception, as they say, where there is will, there is way. I believe they can as well come to be victorious.
Benja, before I speak to Kovasila, the winners get 500,000 Kenya shillings. I mean, and it's broken, the winners 500,000.
It's actually 400. 400. For the men's teams, it's 400. 250, I think 150. Then we have 50 for individuals, and the women's is 200, 150. That is yet to be finalized, but that is around.
That is what you are working around.
We're working around.
So how did you come up with, you know, like let's get the winners to get this amount, and probably this might be, you know, one of the tournament that is among the highly paying when you talk about the sevens.
Last time we held Kitui 7's, the winners got the total prize money was $1 million bob, and this will be definitely higher. And the reason why we do that is we seldom have tournaments that have prize money, and to me, as somebody who's been in rugby for very long, it is not rewarding enough to just go run and come out with a trophy. If you have something to put in the pocket after a hard day's job, and Kuvazila dug deep into his pocket to be able to get this money out. It was a fight, of course. But again, that appreciation alone, and I think the players want to come out and to give us quality rugby football. They need to be rewarded for what they do. So that was the thinking behind the prize money.
So talk about Kitui 7's, and what does it mean when you talk about rugby development?
It's huge because, you know, as a little child, when you see things happening in your backyard, so assuming there's 20,000 guys in the stadium on the day, and there's this little child who never has seen anything big in their lives, they come and watch the game, that sticks in the mind. Success starts to propagate in the thinking. So for me, it's about exposing the game to those that are less fortunate to watch it either on TV or to come in direct contact. There's many people now who get in contact with players only see on TV. And things like those can really encourage younger kids to come through.
Kovasila, I want to talk about a sustainability of Kitui 7's. For 2 years, there was a hiatus that this tournament did not take part. You've come back and you've made it better. But how long, I mean, talk about sustainability. How are we going to have it after every year, or is it going to come to, you know, a point where then after probably 5 years, again,
well, we must appreciate the fact that this is a completely new administration of governance under the able leadership of Her Excellency the Governor, Mheshimiwa Charity Ngilu. And I would say that previously could be, you know, the government would be, it was not passionate in the sporting activities. I want to assure you here that Robinson, we are very pertinent, and I want to assure you that we are planning to take sporting activities into higher notch. Under the leadership of Governor Ngilu, I would say that before the end of our term, the 10 fresh years, we are anticipating to go. she will have left a legacy and a mark. And you see, when we are encouraging these teams to participate, we are also scouting the talents, different talents, so that we can as well sponsor them to go to participating to higher links. And as a matter of fact, we want to make, like the stadiums we are meeting the international standards. We want to make it, to engage our youths periodically, to be participating in these stadiums and, practicing, as they say. Practice makes perfect. So we will be there very soon.
And as we wind up, how did you manage to get teams from Uganda to confirm participation in this?
Well, as I told you earlier on, that my ministry has 3 components. One, departments, tourism, sports, and culture. I used the tourism, marketing skills, and with the help of my brother Ayimba here, and also, the fact that our Linda is an international icon, we were able to attract them. Actually, as a matter of fact, we've been defending teams to come because they have heard what Kitui is. The infrastructure has already been set very well, and of course, the people of Kitui are very hospitable. And that's why I'm saying, naambia mamboys wa Nairobi, Mandaraka Day, form ni Kitui. Wacheni kukaa huku kwa Nairobi kwa majam na kwa, noise pollutions. Come to Kitui, have a taste of even goats. Zenye hazija kula makaratasi. Zona mundu and the like. And you won't regret.
So as we wind up, Benja, what should you expect?
Fireworks. It's going to be a good tournament. I think those that like traveling out of town, this is a perfect opportunity to do that. We've lined up serious entertainment, both first and second day of the tournament, and we are finishing off with a Churchill live recording. So you can come in on Thursday night and be sure that the next 3 days is going to be days of fun and games throughout. Yes.
Again, I'm telling our youth, especially those who come from the Kitui county and its environs, that Churchill will be undertaking auditions on the Wednesday at 10 a.m. at Kitui Stadium. So come showcase what you are able to do, because at Kitui County we are in the business of promoting talents. Yes.
Well, thanks a lot.
Then I also want to add that we have a hashtag that Tembea Kitui Nova. So I want to tell Kenyans.
There's some people who don't know what Nova is.
Nova is just here. You Tembea Kitui hashtag. It's here. Another hashtag. If you are tired of your agenda, Kitui is the place to be.
Well, thanks a lot for coming in. That is Honorable Patrick Musau, who is the CEC for Sports in Kitui County, and Benjamin Ayimba, who is the Tournament Director, Kitui 7's. Remember, it's only 6 days to the Kitui 7's that will be held from 1st of June in Kitui County. 18 teams have already confirmed participation, and 4 women's team will be in action. Also, we'll be having the schools category in the second edition of Kitui 7's. Thanks a lot, gentlemen, for coming in. And before we take a short commercial break, we wanted to revisit the question that we had given you of, what are your thoughts about the Champions League match that we had yesterday? Well, what are your thoughts on Real Madrid after they won their 3rd successive Champions League title? That is the question that we'd asked. What are your thoughts on Real Madrid after they won their 3rd successive Champions League title? So we want to sample some of your tweets, what you had to say. So we take a look at what you had to say. El Santo says, let's take all a moment and appreciate the best player for Madrid in clutch Champions League games, none other than Gareth Bale. He deserves more praise. 12 hours on and still can't get over the Gareth Bale goal. Believe me, it takes a lot to make lose my voice, and that goal did it. So that is some of your reaction on the Champions League final that was played yesterday, where Real Madrid won their 3rd successive Champions League title, beating Liverpool 3-1. And we take a short commercial break now, but when we come back, we'll be taking a look at the Champions League final. We have the top 10s of the week and also the top 5 moments of the week. Thanks for coming.